Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So, right today in this particular video, we will be learning that about the markers, right? We'll be learning about the markers in the PyTest which we are having. What are these used for? What's the syntax for making up the markers? And all those respective things will be covered up in this particular video. Fine. So let me quickly put up the heading here for the today's topic which we are having up, and that's the markers. So great, here we go. Putting up this and moving down from here to this and this and this, and great. Fine. So now what are we going to do is that we'll be learning about that markers, right? So we'll be learning about those. Let me start writing, and with that only I'll be explaining you the several things regarding the markers. How are they made? What are they used for? What's the use for making up the markers? Okay. So then now great into that particular case. PyTest. PyTest allows you, PyTest allows us to use markers to test functions. One second. PyTest allows us to use markers on test functions, right? So on test functions. So what are the test functions you had made up into your test file? So onto that you could apply up the markers. Fine. Or you could make up the markers for that, or you could use up the markers into that particular case. Right? So what are the markers used for? So here goes that are markers are used to markers are used to set various features slash attributes to test functions to test to test functions. So into that, markers are used to set up the various features and the attributes to test up the function. So that's the complete use of the markers right here. Right now, into PyTest you did already have up some inbuilt markers as well. So at some sort of point, if these are required, so you could use up the inbuilt markers. Let me tell you that what are the examples for that. So here goes that PyTest provides many PyTest provides many inbuilt PyTest provides many inbuilt markers such as xfill, skip, and parameterize. Further, we'll be learning about the parameterize as well in the detail, that what's that. But for now, understand this much only, that this is one of the I could say inbuilt marker which we have up here. Okay. So it provides us with many inbuilt markers which are listed up here, like the xfill, the escape, the parameterize. So these are some sort of other things as well, other inbuilt markers which we have up here into the markers. Fine. Now apart from that users can create their own marker names. So apart from that, users can create their own markers names. So whatever the, like, you want to create your own marker, you do not want to use this inbuilt one, so yeah, you could do so. Okay, you are actually allowed to do out this respective things. Fine. Now we have a syntax that is used for writing up and making up the markers for a test function. So syntax goes that, first of all, now it's necessary for you to import up the PyTest library. Till now we were not importing up the PyTest. But now when you move forward with making of the markers, with using the parameterize and all those functions, so in that it's compulsory for you to import up the PyTest library. Okay, so here goes my importing of the PyTest, and here we put up @ PyTest dot mark dot, and inside this you are gonna put up your marker. In real it's not gonna be like that. It means that in real you do not have to put up the angular brackets, but right here for giving up the example, this is how it's gonna actually be. Okay, so you put it up here as pytest dot mark dot, and here in the bracket you put up your marker name respective to whatever you are wishing to make up whenever you are gonna use up your own marker name. Okay, so as I had already told you, so for using up this markers, it's important for you to import up the PyTest module. Let me write that as well, because that's one of the important points which are not to be forgotten actually. Fine, so here I'm going to write, so to use markers to use markers we have to import PyTest module PyTest module in the test file. So to use the markers, we have to import of the PyTest module in the test file. Okay, so into that we can define, so for that we can define our own marker names. We can define our own marker names to the marker name to the tests and run the tests having those marker. One second. So to use of the markers, we have to import of the PyTest module into the test file. We can define our own marker names to the test and run the test having those. One second, this is actually completely one second, let me use the eraser only, otherwise it would look too much of messy. Right here, having those. Okay, having those having those marker names. So here goes my having those marker, and here goes my names. So right like this, you could use up these particular things right here, and you could write up your test into that particular respective case. Okay, now let me give you up a very quick example for writing up that particular, that how do you write up the and make up the marker name. Let me give you a very simple example into that case. Okay, now okay, this one is for making up the marker. Now when you just want to run that respective marker, one second, this respective one which I did wrote up here, it is for making the marker. Okay, now when you want to execute or when you want to run your markers, in that case what's the syntax that has to be used out? So it's pytest dash m, into the brackets you need to use up your marker name, and in front of that goes dash v. Okay, so this is the command which is used for running your markers when you want to execute the marker. Okay, so execute the markers. This is the command which is used for executing up the marker. Fine. Now in this case, the dash m and the dash m marker name, this dash m marker name represents represents the, let me get down. So here dash m marker name represents the marker name of the tests to be executed. executed, of the test to be executed, right? So this is how your marker actually looks like, and this is how you use up and make up your markers. So let me take up a highlighter once right here, and let me once again clarify up the things. So PyTest allows us to use the markers on test functions. Right? Markers are used to set up the various features, the attributes to the test functions. So PyTest provides with many of the inbuilt markers such as XPL, skip, and parameterize. Apart from that, users can create their own marker names. Okay. So now this at the rate PyTest dot mark dot marker name. Now this is the command which is used for making up the marker. It's used for making the marker, okay, not for executing. And now to use up the markers, we have to import the PyTest module in the test file. We can define our own marker names to the test and run the test having those marker names, okay. So this is how your respective marker name actually works out. This is how it works out. Fine. So this is PyTest dash m marker name dash v. And now that's used for executing up the marker. So for executing of the marker, this is the command which is completely used out. Fine. And this dash m marker name, it represents up the marker name of the test to be executed, right? So hope I'm very much clear with all of these respective things which I did mention up here regarding the markers. Now into the further video, we are going to see about the practical implementation of making up the markers, right? This is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.